Hey guys, and welcome back. So let's get started. And I have the passes here, the main, the fog, the sparks, the blue for lightning, and then the smoke element. And I'm gonna start with this. So the first thing I do is this auto shuffle that shuffles all the AVs. And what I've included here, the normals, the P position, the various light AVs. So the back, bottom, I don't have anything, so I'm gonna delete that. The top or the front light, the red, the sky, which is very dim at the moment, and then the cloud or the mountains, the top light, and then the depth, Z depth. So this can give us, yeah, we'll check this later, but this is the depth. An AUV mask for the debris, and I'll go over some of these things that including rendering the lightning, but the blue energy, which we still have to cover, and I will cover all of these elements as well. So I have a mask for the debris. This is the texture, indirect pass, and the indirect pass has the fire, obviously. All the other lights, they are not emitting GI, so only the fire itself is illuminating the geometry. The dot product mask that we did, the emission, we don't have any emissive geometry. The groups, the height, which contains, the A channel. Sorry, the red is the outside, the green is the inside, the blue is the height of the geometry inside. This is extra mask to separate the ground from the outside, and a separate occlusion pass, and then the rest. This is a P attribute that sticks to the geometry at all times. Okay. All right, so what do we need? Well, if we look at this, I mean, it's all up to you really, but what I tend to do is I don't break the AUVs into diffuse, specular, and indirect and try to merge that. I don't break the physicality of the shader. I always tweak the lights. So, for example, I can put down a merge node here and use this as plus. And now this light is brighter because we added it, and we can change it like that. So, and if we want to rebuild all the AUVs, or if we want to tweak and change the hue of the lights, we'd have to recombine everything, but that's not what I'm aiming at doing. I like the primary pass. I think I can make it a bit better, and that's what I'm going to do. So this front pass, I really like because it's gonna pick up some interesting details. So if we can create more hue shift in this, so the colors are very different from the current pass, and then we add it, it's going to help with the contrast. It's going to help, give more volume to this. I'm going to do that, and then this one. So my idea for this is I wanted it to be, very bright in the center and then decays off quickly. I'm still not very happy with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grade this down like this. And then, graded gamma, lower the gamma so it shrinks. And then I'm going to use a hue shift and shift it like this, and then desaturate it. And this will give me another kick on top of the light to enhance that visual. So if I put this and use a plus mode, you'll see only this is getting brighter. And this is going to be really cool as we go. Like the center is always bright and then everything else is not. So I think this helps. And the way I look at this at the moment is I need that center to be the focus no matter what. So even though the entire screen is going to be illuminated and fully bright, I'm gonna do my best to tune it, lower the intensity of all the lights except this, and we can do that using a vignette later. So this light, this one I like, this one I really like, and what I actually prefer doing, is to lower the main thing like this. Maybe I didn't do this, but I think it's gonna look cool. So if I merge this now, we get these darker, it gives a very different feeling. We get these bright spots, this nice section here, and then this section. I think it gives a different sense of the scene. It's, feels more dangerous than being, super bright and super happy. So we'll go with this for now. And this one I like, like I think this lighting is very good, the shapes and everything, but let's try making it warmer and maybe brighter. And when I do this, all of a sudden it's stealing away the center. It's taking over the center. And if we look at it, red, green, and blue, the red channel, it's brighter here in these 4 triangles or squared like shapes, and the center is less. So I don't want this. Okay, and to convey this important visual, I'm gonna make sure that nothing else exceeds the brightness of my center. So I'm not gonna do this, or maybe if I do it, I just be careful with it. So I can desaturate this, maybe gain it a bit, but that's it. I'm not gonna go crazy. And the other thing, even the brightness is strong, we can still use complementary colors and have a very desaturated blue tone, and that would still work, but I don't want to go with in that route. So we have to be very careful with the visual. Let's see, this one, not so much. I don't like this one, because if I gain it or add it on top, it's gonna steal away from the center, so I don't need it. The sky is the same, it's gonna give us a uniform lighting, so I'm not very excited about that. And then this top I like, because what I can do with it is I can mask out or use one channel. So let's put down a gain node and let's gain the image like that. I'm gonna look at the red, green, and blue. So the way I see this, I'm gonna create a mask out of it. And I'm gonna desaturate it. And I want to add this on top. And this is gonna help me with that scale. That texture pattern is gonna help with the overall scale of the scene. I'm gonna reduce it down and maybe give it a tint. Something like this. And now you see we're getting more variations in terms of texture, and this is going to help with the overall scale. Now remember, we have a lot of fog on top of this, so that we try to make this look as good as possible on its own, and then by adding the other layers, it's gonna look even better. Okay, so what else? We have this specular component, which flickers quite a bit because of the displacement, and I didn't the bump, and I didn't use the very high res settings, so I'm not gonna increase the specular. But let's see. So we have this occlusion pass that can be useful. I have this issue in the geometry, so let's do this. The best way to composite occlusion is to do a screen. So this is going to go on top. And when we do a screen, see the colors here, they came through. And then what we do is we use a multiply. So we take that and we multiply our image. And this is adding an extra occlusion on top. This and this. And see, it only affected the areas that needs to be darker. And this is the best way to combine occlusion. So we'll keep it. It's fine. And then this pass. So not the dot, sorry. I'm gonna move this here. Where is it? Where did it go? Not the dot. I think it's called the height, but I don't see it right now. Maybe I deleted it. Yeah, I think I deleted that. Okay, so this is the AUV I want, and what I want to isolate is the interior faces. And with this, I want to create that fake illumination, or to show that the geometry, as it separates, it emits lights or it glows. And this is the mask I need. So the green channel, and I'm going to use the blue channel. The blue channel is the height of the geometry. So shuffle, and if we multiply both, we will get this. So we will isolate the mask, to only show up here. And I don't think there's a big difference. Yeah, there is. Okay, so with this, I'm going to use a grade node, and I'm going to multiply it by an orange tint. And let's look at the red, green, and blue. So this. Something like this. I'm going to use a merge node. And I'm going to use an add. So now we're adding these nice cracks onto the geometry. Okay. And remember, we have fire as well. So we have indirect illumination coming off of the geometry. Or you know what, let's do another trick. So if we look at the occlusion and inverted, I wish I did the same thing for the debris. So if we take the occlusion pass and invert it, it's going to give us a interesting mask. And if we gain it down, we will get some fake illumination. Or if we invert the occlusion, because it captures the cavity, this is black and this is white. If we invert this, this is going to be white and it has a nice decay, and this is going to be black. So if we take this and multiply it, with this, the result is going to be even better. And then let's gain this a bit more. Sorry, I'm looking at the alpha channel. I'm going to clamp it. I don't need to gain it. And see, now we're getting some nice breakups into this. And instead of just one grade, I'm going to do two So this is the first one, and then I'm gonna take this again, gain it down, lower it, use a hue shift, and shift the hue like this, maybe desaturate it a bit, and then I'm gonna add this using a plus mode as well. So this plus this, and this just gonna add a kick inside these areas. So this and this, I'm gonna gain it a bit more. And now if we merge this, we get some nice emissive geometry, or emissive cracks. And as we go, we're gonna get some really nice detail coming off of this with this technique. Now, what I'm missing is some nice glows wrapping around the geometry, and that's gonna be tricky because we don't have anything that bleeds. The other way we could do this is using a different occlusion that has a softer version, and it will help with all of this. But let me do something. Let me try. So if we do this, if we take this mask and use an erode on it, okay, and expand it, and the erode is gonna only work on the alpha channel by default, so I'm gonna tell it to work on the red, green, and blue. See, I'm doing an erode, I'm just expanding it a touch, and then I'm gonna blur it. And if we merge this with the mask, with the geometry, so this and then plus this, we get this glow effect, but only in the mask. When we multiply all of this with the occlusion, it's gonna work correctly. So let's look again. So this area, for example, if I disable this, see, I don't get any glow around it. With it, it works perfectly. Now another thing we could do is use an exponential glow or an expo glow. This is my node. I can share. Unfortunately, this one is public, so you can use this one from Nukipedia. And let's reduce the intensity, something like this, and then add this instead. It's too much. So color shift, I don't need anything, but why is it green here? Yeah, this node does some stuff. So let me see. It has a setting for chroma aberration, I believe. I'm not sure. I'm gonna use a simple glow, and that's it. Something like this, and then I'm gonna lower the intensity. Something like that. And now we have these nice cracks. And as the geometry opens up, we start to see these cracks, and because they are based off of the occlusion changes over time, so this is gonna work. It's not gonna be on all the time, but if a piece, for example, is interacting with a group of geometry, it's gonna have occlusion. If it's by itself, it's not gonna have any occlusion, so the fire effect will fade away. And now we have this nice addition. Okay, we'll continue adding some more stuff in the next video. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in a bit.